Hello everyone, welcome back to Trophy Food Experiences. Today I'm doing a review of the food aboard first class on Qatar Airlines between Doha and Hong Kong. And again, normally I would not do reviews of food or wine on an airplane, even in business class. But first class, it's really an exceptional experience. With Qatar Airlines, if you see my other video, in business class, the food was exceptional also. So I will do it in situations where it's kind of stunning. And if you want to know more about the actual cabin and the first class lounge in Doha or the wine list, I have those separate videos on my other channels, Trophy Travel Experiences and Trophy Wine Hunter. But let's get back to the food. So you start off, the classic drink on Qatar Airways is their mint tea. It's beautiful, and then they serve you with some olives and cheese. So that's kind of the starter, a little bit higher end than in business class, which would give you just warm nuts. Here's a short video of the menu, which is extensive, and then I'll have a couple of photos that go through each of the pages of the menu. A couple of things about this. One, it's a dine on demand, so you can dine anytime. Two, I didn't have a full meal service because of two reasons. One is because I already had eaten in the first class lounge, and two, the flight ride was at 1 a.m. in the morning, so of course it's hard to digest at that time period. You can pre-order some meals if you want to make sure you have something. I think it's 14 days before and up to 48 hours before the flight. But honestly, the menu is extensive. And one thing that I saw someone else do, which I thought was quite smart, was that there is a nice snack and there's also breakfast before you land. What he did, the person in front of me did, was they actually took a main course from the dinner for breakfast instead, which I thought was kind of smart. And again, they'll do that subject to availability. But in first class, there was only 4 passengers. So I would think that they're quite eager to help out. And in fact, the individual in front of me, the stewardess encouraged him because he was a little shy. He liked everything, and like me, it was his first experience on first class. So they encouraged him to have all of the main courses. I think he did, over the course of the flight, have 3 main courses. So good for him, but I just couldn't eat that much. This is a nice add-on in first that I don't believe we got in business class. A little bit of Arabic tea and a little date to start off your night. So a little knick-knack snacks, kind of neat, but it's a whole dining experience. And again, even though it's a long flight, there's so much to eat, and sleep, that really takes up all your time. Then they gave us some warm nuts and I had it with champagne. This is where the business class service would start. So you get a couple extra kind of bits in first class on top of what you would get in business class. And so one thing is that with the champagne, in business class, you'll get what they call non-vintage champagne, which is going to be under $100 Canadian. Still decent, but in first class, you'll get elevated champagnes. You'll get vintage champagne. In this situation, it was a Bollinger, Rosé, and these are in the $300 to $400 level in terms of champagne. So really, if you want to taste or dabble, that's kind of a nice thing to do. These are much higher end product. I started meal service with the beluga caviar with Balik style salmon. It's served with a selection of accompaniments, bellinis, and Melba toast. And so this is kind of something that's signature to first class. You always have, normally in a lot of airlines, you'll have caviar service. Beluga caviar is obviously very expensive caviar, and then you also have that smoked salmon and all the fixings. And the nice thing is, if you enjoy caviar, it's very hard at home to have egg yolks and white sauce. You won't have all this nice trimmings, and you won't have the different types of blinis. These are tough to get. So it's kind of a nice starter, and is an elevated service. So I would definitely try that. And one of the things I was impressed about is I was looking at the part of caviar, which type of caviar it is. So they actually served us Iranian caviar as compared to maybe farmed caviar, which is obviously less expensive. So really impressed with that in terms of this. The actual taste of the caviar was great. I had it with a very top-end champagne called Armand de Brignac Ace of Spades. Next, as with business class, you get a bread basket, and you get choices of different kind of butter, balsamic vinegar, olive oil, I think a couple of spreads too. So lots of different things that you can have. This is the advantage of pre-booking your meal. So because it was a late flight at 1 a.m., they only had the late night dining menu. Whereas, and maybe that explains why the person in front of me had three main courses, because they were smaller. Whereas I ordered, pre-ordered, and there's a lot more selection. So I ordered a lobster, and this is, I think, in kind of a spice, like a spicier sauce with some noodles underneath. So it was really actually quite nice and quite filling. So I would believe that maybe the late night dining menu was a little bit smaller. They had Caesar salad on there, braised beef short rib noodle soup, a lobster roll. So much smaller than what I had. So that's a huge advantage. I would take advantage of that. In most first class with different airlines, they do allow you to pre-order, and generally the pre-order has a more extensive menu that's on board, and also it just assures you that you're going to get what you like. So again, this is a short video of what I had, and then paired it with a meal. But you can see the size of the lobster and the noodles is, or the size of the lobster and the rice accompaniment is quite substantial. So I was pretty full. I could have had, dessert or some cheese, but at that time I was just really, really full. Woke up and had breakfast slightly before landing. And again, one of the things that with first class and maybe with business, sometimes there's so many selections. So sometimes you assume they're going to give you one of each, but I think sometimes if you don't ask for it, they won't do it. So for instance, with the breakfast, there was both a starter and main course. I actually didn't ask for a starter, but I probably should have. But again, I was so full anyways, it didn't matter. But I had, for breakfast, kind of a very Asian traditional breakfast. I had the scallop congee with chili soy sauce, this egg julienne, fried garlic, spring onion, and braised shiitake mushroom. So it was kind of a nice, light breakfast for me because I was already full from the whole day of eating. But all in all, the quality of the food was excellent. I really enjoyed the meals, equivalent to just going to a Michelin recommended restaurant on land. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy eating.